What up, guys? I'm here with another video. Um, this one's basically all the hard truths about being a business owner. All the things that you've got to deal with, all the negatives and stuff. Um, that makes it really difficult to do this stuff. So basically, it's a 24-hour job. You're responsible for everything that breaks. You're responsible for everything you break. Let me get to my notes over here. Uh, you have no freedom. I mean, you have freedom because you could work halfway through the day and still make good money, but then get off work. But remember, you always have to pick up that phone. If someone calls you, you have got to pick up. You got to respond to a customer like ASAP. A customer does not like when you respond to them even 10 minutes late. They want it instantly. So that's the number one thing: is no away from your phone. My phone ringer is that is like that's my everything. My phone rings, it's like it goes right to me. Everyone brings my phone right to me instantly if my phone rings. Like I said, you're responsible for everything. You know, pricing your jobs correctly. Bidding the jobs. Um, correctly so you get the job. Don't overbid it so you're just constantly not getting the job. And then don't underbid it because, that'll put yourself out of business real fast. So learning that correctly, using Google and researching, in your area how to price things correctly, that's a huge thing that you need to do. Um, like I said, you're responsible for all the sales, the taxes. You got to learn how to manage your taxes, and write off everything correctly from gas, the fees that your businesses have to work with, whether it's like dump fees or service fees or any kind of fees that your industry has to deal with. You better make sure that you're monitoring all that and keeping track, because at the end of the year you don't want to owe a bunch of money. You want to make sure you're doing it correctly, because I have to make sure I do all my stuff 100% legit. Even if people want to pay you in cash, that goes right in the bank account, and the taxes get paid on that at the end of the year, and have a bank account set aside to pay your taxes just for that. That's very important, because that's a big one that sinks people is the taxes, and they don't do them correctly. And pay the $300 to have someone do them for you. That's a professional, and then you'll get the most out of it, and then you can sleep easy, so you're good. Or use TurboTax if you're a pro. You're all good. I used TurboTax for a long time, and it's really good as long as you have it checked. Um, yeah, because number three, your income is unpredictable. Yeah, that's a huge one. Like sometimes you have to go some weeks without jobs, but you're just bidding jobs, and then they eventually start coming back in. So your jobs are super unpredictable. So you got to be very thankful when you get one. Do it right so you get a good review, so you can keep getting more. Um, you can go. I mean, some people go months without jobs, and it's scary. They've sometimes some people keep their own business, and they still got to keep working on a job just because it's not strong enough. Um, some months are just brutal, and no money's guaranteed. You know what I mean? No one's there to save you. That's another one I got. No one's there to save you. It is all on you. So you better spend that money and get your credit perfect. You better get your bills paid. Don't overextend yourself, otherwise that will mess you up. You'll feel alone more than ever. Yeah, that's true. I do have those in my notes. You will feel alone more than ever because there's no one really. It's no one's gonna understand what you're going through. So it's the stress of like not being able to sleep. Yeah, yeah, good, good, good. The stress of not being able to sleep. Worrying about if you have a job coming in. Or if you have a big job that is coming in, not messing it up. That's another little scary thing you have to get past. That's the stress. Stress is employees worry about their jobs, owners worry about payroll, and surviving. So that's a huge difference. Um, between the employee employer. So uh, yeah, that's always scary. Going to bed at night worried about your jobs and stuff. Stress, it's way different. Success takes longer than you think. Yeah, it's not overnight. It's not overnight, but you see it fast when you start making those $200-300 days on depending whatever your new gig is. Like I said, even landscaping, you can make a couple hundred in a day just mowing lawns if you do it correctly. You can make $1,000 a day easy. I know guys making 2-3 grand a day. Um, Let's see, if you don't build, you can bottleneck yourself if you don't build systems. Yeah, you don't want to overbook yourself and then stop not getting to jobs. That really would really mess you up, and that gives you a bad rep. That's my biggest thing on that. It's not for everyone just because of the fact that you got to manage the money, the stress, the getting new jobs, talk. So a lot of people just can't talk to people. A lot of people's biggest problem is they can't talk on the phone and sell a job because they don't have the personality to do it. So you got to really make sure that you're, down to put the schmooze on, man. You got to really talk to people and make them feel like $1 million because they're trusting you to do a job and they're trusting, that with their house, their property, and they're going to give you money for it, a lot of money sometimes. So you really got to, be a good person and talk to people 100%. Don't overpromise, underpromise, then overperform. That's the number one thing I always say. And always make sure you ask for a review. And like I said, my biggest stress is before and after photos. Peace out. Hit me up in the comments if you need any help with anything business related because I do this stuff. Thank you.